Today, we are going to be talking about the secret to passing the Florida bar exam, and I appreciate that you all have joined me for this webinar. There's a storm going on right now. I don't know where you are. I hope everyone is safe, but I'm going to try to move through this fast as quickly as I can. So as many of you know, maybe you saw the post on LinkedIn that I did, but I was very, very upset when I saw that that only 54% of Nova Law students passed the Florida bar. And I was extremely disappointed, right? That's just a terribly low passage rate. I saw across the state, it seemed like there were a number of other schools that didn't have a great bar passage rate. And so if you're joining me for this webinar right now, whether you're in law school right now or whether you just took the bar and you didn't pass, all right, my goal is that 100% of you that are here today that have dedicated some time and set aside some time, 100% of you are going to pass either on your first attempt, or if you just failed this last attempt, that you are going to pass this time in February. And I'm going to share with you some of the strategies that have helped me not just succeed in law school, not just pass the Florida bar my first try, but also succeeding in trying a bunch of major cases against some big corporations for wrongful death, personal injury, and other catastrophic cases, and also running a business and just doing a good job succeeding in whatever it is you're doing. So I'm going to share some strategies and tactics with you, and hopefully you get it. So if you're in law school right now, or if you just passed the bar, if you want to become a lawyer, you have two jobs, right? You have two jobs. It's you got to pass law school and you got to pass the Florida bar. And if you fail law school, you're not going to be taking the Florida bar. If you don't pass the Florida bar, you're not going to become a lawyer. So you need to put your blinders on and make sure that you focus on the two things that are most important. One, doing really well in law school, which is going to make it easier to pass the Florida bar. And two, passing the Florida bar. You have two jobs. And so I want you to really consider those are that is the main primary focus for you to become a lawyer. And if you fail at one of those, or you don't pass one of those things, you're just going to delay what it is you're trying to do. And you don't want to get into the rut of not passing the Florida bar, because there are some people that they continue to fail that aspect of what they need to do to become a lawyer, and it becomes very difficult. So I'm going to focus on a couple strategies that I use to help me out and help me succeed in my practice. And one of the big things is minimizing distractions. That's the first thing that you need to do. It's your first step to passing your exams, doing a great job in law school, and then also passing the Florida bar exam. So this is one part of the thing I want to talk about first, right? This is the base thing that you need to do so that you do a phenomenal job in law school and passing the Florida bar. Social media is insane right now. Okay. It is a major distraction, and I get it. I understand. We all have the apps on the phones. We all do different social media, but when you're studying and you're focused on trying to do well in law school, or if you're in your class during law school, or when you're studying for the Florida bar, this stuff becomes a major distraction. I'm going to give you couple tips on how to minimize it and really help you achieve what it is you're trying to achieve. So first of all, just so you know, the average user of telephones touches their phone 2,617 times a day. When I heard the stat, I was blown away, but that's the truth. It's insane, right? And so when you're working, there are constant interruptions, whether it's your phone is going off or whether someone's coming over and tapping on your shoulder. There's so many distractions. So you need to work to minimize those distractions. And the first thing that I suggest, this is number one rule, okay? Number one rule, if you receive notifications like this one on your computer, right, or on your phone, you must turn them off. You must turn them off. There is absolutely no reason for you to be answering emails when you're in class, or when you're studying in the library, or when you're studying for the bar. You got to turn this stuff off. I never have these notifications on. I promise you, emails are not emergencies. If someone needs you, they will get in touch with you. Turn this stuff off. It's going to increase your productivity like massively. And the second thing is just go to your email options and turn them off. That's number one. Number two, notifications. If your phone has these little red notifications on your apps, I guarantee you're going to look at them. Okay. If you look down, you see it on your phone, you're going to look. So turn off those notifications. That's through law school. When you're studying for the Florida bar, turn off these notifications, please, because when you're studying, it's a major distraction, and it's going to affect your productivity and how well you do. So these are like basic steps. You go on your phone, find the notifications, turn them off. The next step is working distraction free, right? It's called deep work. Deep work requires thought. It requires you to really read what it is that you're reading and digest it. So I suggest to you is when you're studying, whether it's for law school or the exam, do it in either half hour or 1 hour increments where that's all you're doing. That's all you're focused on is reading, briefing, writing, reviewing rules, doing multiple choice questions. It's something you must do distraction free. Turn off the phone, turn off the computer, turn off everything and just focus for that hour. Then take a break and look at your phone, do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay. But these are the major primary things I suggest to really, really maximize what it is you're doing and what it is you're learning. The next thing is, again, during that time frame, just don't check your email, social media, or anything else during that time when you're focused on studying. This is going to increase your chances of doing really, really well on your law school exams and passing the Florida bar. Because I promise you, when you're sitting down for the Florida bar exam, you are not going to be checking your emails. And that's what we're going to talk about in a few minutes is when you're taking the exams and practicing and preparing for the exams. We're going to talk a little bit about preparing under the condition that you are going to be in when you take the exam. Now, a lot of this stuff is fast, but like I said, I want to go through it quickly and give it to you. And then what I'm going to do is you guys can email me any questions that you have because we don't have the chat set up here, but we'll talk. You guys send me emails and I'm happy to help out. So booking your classes, passing the Florida bar exam, there is a tremendous amount of information that you are getting when you are in law school. It is like drinking out of a fire hose. It's a massive amount of information. So you must break down throughout your law school career and then also set aside enough time to study for the bar where you are digesting this information over time. You can't wait until the very last minute to digest this information. It will not turn out good for you. It will not turn out good for you. So there's an old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The elephant is law school. The elephant is the Florida bar exam. You need to make this stuff your full-time job, your full-time efforts. Put the blinders on. Try to just focus on the two things I told you to do, which is do well in law school and pass the Florida bar so that you can become a lawyer. And do not cram. Do not cram for exams. You cannot do it. You will not succeed. It is very, very rare, and you don't want to try to be that unicorn that can do it. Okay, it's like trying to get a lottery ticket. You have to study over time, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about that in a second. Another thing, take breaks. Okay, after you do that 1 hour session where all it is that you're focused on is getting through this exam or getting through studying, take a break. Okay, take 15 minutes, take 20 minutes, take a half hour, walk away from it. Right? Think about it, digest what it is you're doing, relax a little bit, check your phone, check your emails, do your social media. But after you're done with that break, get back to it. Get back to it. I always suggest taking long lunches also. This is time for you to unwind a little bit after you've really put in the time to focus. So I joke around, you go to Chick-fil-A, you go to Blaze, it's not healthy, but either way, take long lunches and then get back to the library when you feel good and you're recharged and you're ready to go, and then get back into that deep work mode where you're going to focus for a half hour or an hour at a time, researching and reviewing and preparing for what it is, whatever it is you're going to take, whether it's law school exam or the bar exam. All right. These are also just some basics. Okay. You got to mix in exercise, health, like sleep and healthy diet. You know, the Blaze pizza and the other stuff's not that healthy, but getting a right amount of sleep and getting some exercise, it is critical. Okay. It is critical. I have looked back in history and I've seen the people that stay up really late and they're cramming into the middle of the night and they're not sleeping and then they're getting up early. They don't do as well. Their body is not operating at its maximum potential because they are not getting enough sleep. They're staying up, they're popping Adderall and they're drinking too many Red Bulls. All right. Find time to close your eyes and get rest. Okay. Find time in between all this stuff. Even when you're studying for the Florida bar, even when you're studying for exams, find time to get exercise, go for a run, go for a walk, go to the gym, whatever it is you got to do. This stuff will help you out. And when you're doing those things, we're talking about this in a bit, you're going to be visualizing the stuff that we're talking about. That's visualization is a big thing also. Meditation, you can meditate. That might be next level stuff. There's a great app called Headspace. And then if you have trouble sleeping, I'm not a doctor, but there's some stuff out there. Do some research, things that can help you get a good night's sleep, healthy, natural things that can get you a good night's sleep. Look into it. Now, preparing for exams. This is the major part that I want to talk about. And again, when I'm doing a webinar like this, I have no idea who's on the other end and if you're even watching, but hopefully you're there. this is the most important thing, and I'm going to share with you an analogy of a story, a true story. I talked about U.S. Navy SEALs and some of the social media posts that I did, but I'm going to talk to you about the raid that killed Osama bin Laden. And this was in 2011 in Abbottabad, Pakistan. The CIA found where they believed Osama bin Laden was living. And what happened was the U.S. government brought in special operators from the U.S. Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6, to prepare a direct action raid on this compound where they believed Osama bin Laden was living. So here's what the U.S. Navy SEALs did, and this is the elite of the elite, and this is how they did it. They built a mock compound that was identical to the compound in Pakistan, and they trained over and over and over again on that compound exactly what they were going to do, from the helicopters flying in and every single person, where they would be located when they raid this compound, so that they would achieve a successful mission. They didn't want to have anybody killed. They wanted to successfully complete this very, very high profile mission. And one of the things they did was they trained on the mock compound. They prepared for helicopter crashes. One of the things they did was there was a wall around this compound, and the wall that they trained on, they used a chain link fence. The real compound had concrete walls. So I want you to remember that just for a second, that the real compound had concrete walls. The one that they trained on, everything was identical except the wall. They did a chain linked fence on the mock compound. And I'm going to tell you why that's important, because on the day that they went in to do this raid, and they flew in on special operations stealth helicopters, okay, they went in and there was a helicopter crash. The reason this helicopter crashed was because when they were preparing for this raid, they used chain link fences instead of a concrete fence. They did not practice on the exact conditions that they were going to do on the mission. What happened was, when the helicopter flew over the compound, on the mock compound with the chain link fence, air was able to get out and the helicopter was able to land safely and then take off. Problem was, with the concrete wall, when the helicopter came over, the air was getting captured within the compound and it caused a helicopter crash. It was it could have been an absolute disaster. But I told you before that these special operators practice and they practice and they practice over and over again. And they had years of experience of going in and doing raids like this. And they practiced what would happen if there was a helicopter crash in the middle of this mission. And this is what ended up being reported by one of the lead U.S. Navy SEALs that was either the first or second person in the room when Osama bin Laden was killed. This is his quote. He said, "The whole mission had become muscle memory. This target wasn't any more complicated than the hundreds of others we'd assaulted over the years." They ended up completing this mission without any casualties, without anyone being seriously hurt. And it ended up being a major success despite this helicopter crash. Why? Because they had prepared. And notwithstanding the mistake that they did with the fence, they were ready and they successfully completed the mission. And our president took to the news and was able to announce a successful mission that ultimately killed Osama bin Laden, one of the world's, worst terrorists. Okay. So what does that mean for you? It means that when you're studying for law school exams or for the Florida bar, you need to prepare as if you are going into the real game. I am a huge proponent. Okay. You must. It is non-negotiable. I'm giving you the secrets to winning these exams and passing the Florida bar exam on your first try or the next time. You must sign up for these, for a course. Okay. You must. There's non-negotiable. My suggestion is Barbary. It may be a little bit more expensive. You may pay a couple $1,000s or an extra little bit of money. I promise you it will be worth every penny, because if you don't, and then you don't pass, okay, it's going to cost you a lot more in delayed time, in delayed productivity, loss of productivity. So sign up for Barbary and go to the classes. Sign up for Barbary and go to the classes and get the books and listen to what it is that these instructors are telling you, whether it's on a video like this or whatever it is. Do the work, okay? Prepare. And there's other, I guess, courses that you can sign up for. That's up to you, but I'm suggesting sign up for the best one and don't look at price. If Barbary is more money and it's the gold standard, then you sign up for Barbary. That's it. End of story. Use a schedule and stay on that schedule. When I studied for the bar, we had Barbary, and there was a schedule they gave us, and stick to it. Okay, stick to that schedule. Even if you think that you need to go do something else, just listen to what has been done by the people who are pros at this stuff. They are trying to help you. They're trying to help you pass. And then also use whatever resources you have. If your school is putting on a clinic or a workshop or whatever, show up and do it. Put in the extra time while you're preparing for these exams. Acronyms. I was talking to someone a few weeks ago. They didn't even know what an acronym was. Okay. There's a reason why I remember the definition of manslaughter from 15, 16 years ago. It's because someone told me an acronym, or I studied an acronym, HOPAP or whatever it is, heat of passion, adequate provocation. I will remember that forever. There's a reason that you can use these tools like acronyms and flashcards to memorize, not just memorize, but know it inside and out, the rules that you're going to have to know for the Florida bar exam. You're going to get an essay. You're going to get an essay, and you're going to see a bunch of issues that you need to spot, and you need to know the rules. You need to say the issue, and then what is the rule, and be able to rattle at that rule like you know it faster than fast. So when manslaughter shows up on your exam, it probably won't because it's too easy. Okay, you need to know the acronym. So know the acronym for the rule against perpetuities. Know the acronym for best interests of the child if it's family law. Know the acronym for property law or whatever else it is, wills and trusts. Listen, I can't remember what a special needs trust is, but I'm sure I had an acronym because when it showed up on my bar exam, I knew the rule. Know those rules. Use flashcards. Don't just memorize them. Know them. Know them like you don't know anything else. And I promise you, it will save you and give you the edge you need to get through those essays that you're going to be writing. When you know the rule, you're going to see the issue, you'll write the rule, and boom. All right. Focus on your weak spots. Okay. If there are things that you already know, like criminal law or contracts, then listen, set those aside and focus on the wills and the trusts and Florida con law and the family law and property. Forget about it. Properties, with the remainder men and life estates, you need to know those things inside and out because you never know what they're going to ask. And I promise the Florida bar is going to ask you complicated questions. That's what they want to do. They want to throw the curveball, but the curveball is coming. So prepare for it. I promise. Focus on some of the ones that you know are hard and then know it. And then you'll be prepared. This is the most important thing that I really want to share with you. You got to set aside time every weekend, whatever it is, or every couple days to take practice tests under the condition that you are going to be taking it when you're at the bar. When you walk into the bar exam, it is a massive, massive room with tons of tables. All right. You've never sat and done a test like that before. It is daunting and you need to be prepared for it. So take these exams or take the practice exams under testing conditions. Grab a group of people, sit down and work together in the same room, sitting next to a couple other people. So you hear someone's dropping a pen on the ground or someone's shuffling around their bag or someone's messing around with a pen or clicking a pen. These are all little factors that you need to consider because when you're taking the real exam, it's going to be happening. But remember the chain link fence versus the concrete wall. Okay. Had the Navy SEALs practiced with the concrete wall, they would have known that the helicopter couldn't come down. Okay, but they didn't. And they learned from their lesson and they'll never make that mistake again. So you got to practice under testing conditions. So for instance, I spoke to someone the other day, the multiple choice questions, the practice ones that you're getting through Adaptive Bar or whatever, they're on your computer. They're on your computer. You are not taking multiple choice questions during the Florida bar on a computer. You're going to have a booklet. And you're going to have to fill out a form. So you can practice those questions initially on a computer, but get yourself that paper copy booklet and sit down and practice under the same condition you are going to be practicing in when you're actually at the exam, whether it's a law school exam or the Florida bar exam. You got to test yourself under the same condition. I remember I forgot my earplugs. I didn't have my earplugs for the first day of exam. I always practiced with my earplugs, and it was a disaster. Initially, this was like the helicopter crashing, but I had prepared so much that even though I didn't have my earplugs for the multiple choice, I was ready to go, and I got through it. Same thing. So prepare under the testing conditions. Use multiple choice questions in a booklet instead of the computer. After actions, you must, and I spoke to somebody else about this. if you're taking multiple choice questions, the practice ones, you must go back and check your answers. Go back and see the reasons you did them right and see the reasons you did them wrong. Don't just take the questions and then grade yourself and move on to the next one. You got to go back and know what it is you did wrong, right? Just like the Navy SEALs, after that mission, they went back and they said, oh my God, why did we use a chain link fence instead of the concrete wall? Okay, that could have been a major, major disaster. So after you do your practice multiple choice questions under testing conditions, you're going to go back and you're going to check, why did I get this question right and why did I get it wrong? And that's going to be a huge edge, because when you do 1,000 multiple choice questions, you're going to get to the real exam and you're going to know the reasons why you get these right. And you're going to know why the wrong answer is a trick question or why this one is just a little bit better than the other one. Because I promise you, when you take those multiple choice questions, it comes down to A, B, C, and D, and E, and 2 of them look right. But by the time you get there, if you practice and you go back and you double check, you'll know which is the better, that slightly better answer that they're looking for. Write out the essays. Write out the essays, same thing. When you sit down under testing conditions for an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, and write out, type it up, then go back and check your work. Look if you got all the rules. Did you have the rule statements right? Remember, the rule statements need to be compact, fast, easily memorable. And if you want to use the acronym like HOPAP or something else, use it. But know those rules so that as soon as you see that issue, you say, okay, this is the issue. That's the rule. Let's do an analysis. Boom. Here's the conclusion. What's the next issue? What's the next rule? And you will fly through this thing, but you need to know it. Know it inside your heart. Please don't reinvent the wheel. Don't be fancy. Don't try to be some amazing writer. You don't need to do it. You don't need to be some fancy writer. Just don't reinvent the wheel. Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. That's it. And you will crush this exam. Okay. Follow what it is that you had learned before. Narrow your resources. There's an old saying that you don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen. You're going to have a million different people telling you different things about how they passed the bar and what they did. And then they're going to give you binders of booklets, and they're going to give you a Dropbox full of 1,000 different resources. Put your blinders on, focus on Barbary, focus on a workshop that your instructors are teaching you, focus on the multiple choice questions, and learn these rules the way you want to learn them and the way you need to learn them so that you memorize them. And if someone has a great outline that has every single rule statement and you're able to know them inside and out, great. But don't get overwhelmed with too many people coming up to you telling you that they know what they're going to do and they're going to give you this, the resource and that resource, and then they're going to have this person be a coach. Really, really narrow it down. If there's too many cooks in the kitchen, I have been to major, major trials, and every trial that I've really killed it and destroyed it, it's been me and maybe one other person, an associate. We've gone in. We have a streamlined team. There aren't too many cooks in the kitchen. Every time I've seen disaster, there have been too many partners and this person and that person. Everyone has their own thing. And then disaster strikes. Bad results happen. So don't get overwhelmed. Narrow it down and don't let too many cooks in the kitchen. I'm going to give you the recap right now. Okay. This is the recap because I told you I was going to keep this short. These are the important points you need to write down right now so that you have them, they're handy, and this is your method of studying, okay? You know the rule inside and out. This is recap 1, and practice writing those essays. You got it. Before you get to the exam, you should have written 50 essays, and then gone back and checked your answers and made sure you got everything right. And if you got something wrong, relearn whatever rule it is you need to learn and then rewrite them, and do this under testing conditions, set aside an hour, 2 hours, totally silent, phones off, no computers, focused. Okay, check your answers. Recap 2, 1 hour sessions of multiple choice. Okay, in a booklet, do it. Right, you can practice on your computer a bunch through Adaptabar, but get those booklets, hard copy, and sit down in a dead silent place so that you can focus. 1 hour multiple choice questions, and then go back. And I wrote here, review wrong answers. You got to review the right ones and the wrong ones. It's a must, okay? And then that will be when you start to see the nuances of which answers are the best. And the critical tip, recap number 3, is to get full practice exams. By the time you get to the bar, you should have set aside at least 4 days, maybe 5 days, where you've taken a full bar exam by yourself. a full bar exam. So you sit in the library for 3 hours in the morning and 3 hours in the afternoon, testing just as if you were at the bar, just as if you're at the Florida bar exam. And then you will have that experience. You're going to walk into that massive room of people and you're going to be comfortable because you know you have done this before. You've done this before. The last thing is just a little bit more conceptual, but I want you to really think about this, is visualizing your success. Visualize it. All right. This is something that I do always in my life. Whenever I have some big event happening or something's going on, I'm going to have a trial, or I'm going to take the bar exam, or I'm going to take a law school exam. If I'm going to be speaking at a wedding, visualize the win. You got to, okay? If you're going for a walk or you're in the shower, you're laying down at nighttime, you want to visualize whatever it is that you plan to do. I promise you, I have not just stood up here cold, talking to this camera right now without practicing and visualizing it. All right. It really wasn't that much practicing, but I have visualized this moment of talking to you. Okay. When I get in front of a jury and I start to talk to them, I have visualized. I know how I'm going to look when I'm cross-examining this witness. I'm going to think about how it is that they're going to respond to me and what I'm going to do. When I go and speak at a wedding, I have visualized myself speaking there and doing a great job. And that's what you have to do, is visualize yourself walking into that massive room. Visualize yourself when they come and they put down that booklet and you have to open it up and they say time and you go and visualize the win. Same thing with law school exams. All right. This is something that you really, really should do. Take the time, walk away from the books, walk away from the studying, and just take a walk and think about it. Think about what it is that you plan to do, so that when you get there, you're ready and you're not going to be nervous. You're not going to be overwhelmed. You're going to say to yourself, I've done this before 100 times in my mind, and I'm going to win, and I'm going to pass the bar. And listen, I have great, amazing stories of massive, massive wins that I've had through my career because of all the things that I've been telling you that about passing the Florida bar exam. Right? It's all the same stuff that I do, and every single thing that I do in my career is I visualize what I'm going to do. I go through and I practice and I prepare over and over again. And so every time I walk into trial and I start to talk to a jury, or I put up a PowerPoint presentation, or I'm picking a jury, I have done it dozens and dozens and dozens of times, so that I know I've increased my edge. I've increased the chances of success. And you're going to do that with the Florida bar. That's why you're going to practice the multiple choice. You're going to practice writing the exams. You're going to take the Florida bar, and you're going to visualize the win. And I promise you, if you are in this meeting, if you're in this webinar right now, I am convinced, all right, I can't guarantee, 100% of you, if you put in the time, will pass the Florida bar. Okay. You really want to be able to, as soon as those bar results come in and you open up your computer, there will be no better feeling when you look down and you say, I passed. And I can get sworn in as an attorney, because we have a very, very exciting career. And it's an amazing experience, and it's an amazing career path for you. And I want you to get it the first time. So remember, right? Remember, this is when I read this quote years ago from this book on the raid against Osama bin Laden. It's the same thing. The whole mission had become muscle memory. All these essays, all these multiple choice questions aren't any more complicated than the hundreds of other ones you've practiced over the time, right? They're no more difficult. And when you walk in, it's going to be second nature, and it's not going to be an issue. You're not going to be overwhelmed. You're not going to be nervous. You're not going to be stressed. You're going to say, oh my God, I've done hundreds of these things. I've read through them over and over again. I know the answers. And you're going to walk out confident. You're probably not going to walk out confident. You're going to walk out being like, oh my God, that was the hardest exam of my life. But I promise you, you will have the edge. You're going to have the edge, and you're going to feel good, and you're going to be one of the people that opens up the computer and sees that you passed. So other tips, I don't know why I threw this in here. Tips for a successful career. Find something, if you're in law school right now, or if you're studying for the Florida bar, you're going to retake the bar. Find something you're passionate about. Become an expert in whatever field it is that you're interested in. Provide value to other people, and do it for free. Just give it away, okay? Not everything, but give it away. And be indispensable. Wherever it is you go, be an indispensable member of the team, okay? They need you, and you want to show that you are you're a critical element to the practice, wherever it is you end up going, whether it's your own business or whether it's a law firm. So I told you I'd be fast. I spoke probably way too fast. I like to get these things done. I'm sure you guys have other things to do. Make sure you check me out. Follow me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. The TikTok's been blowing up lately. Instagram's doing all right. LinkedIn's always fun. But guys, come visit me, follow me on these pages. And then my invitation to you guys, my invitation is this. All right. If you, hopefully you enjoyed this. Hopefully you got something out of it. I'm going to circulate the video so you all have it. This is being recorded, I think. I'm going to circulate it. But my invitation is this, because I'm not taking questions and answers right now. I'm going to be here in my office for the next couple hours. You're welcome to give me a call as soon as this thing is over. Send me an email. I promise you, okay? I promise you I'm busy, but I promise you I will make time for anyone who is here for this webinar. I want you each to pass. And I'm happy to be your coach. I'm happy to be your mentor. I'm happy to guide you through the win that I really want you to have through law school and passing the Florida bar. So write this down, 954-554-6174. That's my email, eric@roseninjury.com. Please, my invite is contact me anytime. Okay, I'm here. I'm here as a resource for you, and I'm sure you have other resources, but listen, I really hope this helped, and I think we're going to wrap it up now. I have no idea if you're even still there, so I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much. I hope this was helpful, and remember, prepare, prepare, prepare.